Hey shooters, listen up. If you're still thinking the 22 LR is nothing more than a backyard plinker for tin cans and squirrels, you're stuck in the past. This little rimfire has leveled up big time. It's no longer just a starter round, it's a serious player for hunting, training, and yes, even defense. Some of today's loads hit harder, cut deeper, and expand nastier than anyone would expect from such a tiny cartridge. That's why we're diving straight into the deadliest 22 LR ammo you can actually buy in 2025. No hype, no gimmicks, just rounds that prove themselves in gel tests, on varmints, and when it matters in the real world. If this gets your trigger finger itching, smash that like button and subscribe to Firearm Standard because we're just getting started. CCI Stinger. Talk 22 LR high velocity in any gun shop, and the first name out of somebody's mouth will be Stinger. For good reason. This 32-grain copper-plated hollow-point rocket's out at about 1,640 feet per second. That's blistering speed for rimfire, and it changes how energy transfers on impact. In gel, the Stinger makes a wound cavity you don't usually see from this cartridge, temporary stretch cavities that look closer to centerfire than rimfire. Expansion is fast and wide, like flipping a switchblade in Jell-O. It's flashy, loud, and it absolutely earns the show. Versatility is another reason it's legendary. Drop it in a Ruger 1022 and you'll see varmints cartwheeling. Chamber it in a compact pistol and suddenly that little gun carries a lot more sting for emergencies. Some dismiss the lighter bullet, but the energy dump tells a different story. It's the sprinter of the rimfire family. Lean, fast, and devastating when it connects. Federal Punch. Not every round is built to expand like a firecracker. Federal designed the punch with one mission: penetrate deep and keep going. This 29-grain flat nose with a nickel-plated case was engineered for short-barreled .22 pistols that usually choke on hollow points. In testing, it consistently drives 12 to 16 inches through gel, even with heavy clothing barriers. No tumbling, no fragmentation, just a clean, angry tunnel straight through. That's exactly what FBI protocols call for in centerfire ammo, shrunk down into rimfire. It's not flashy, but reliability is where it shines. Anyone who's fought with finicky .22 hollow points knows the frustration. The punch feeds like a dream, even in pocket pistols. Expansion may be hit or miss with rimfire, so Federal skipped the gamble and focused on what always matters: penetration. In a carry roll, that makes it one of the smartest rimfire choices out there. Winchester Silvertip Segmenting. Here's where things get wild. Winchester's 37-grain Silvertip doesn't just mushroom, it breaks apart on purpose. On impact, the bullet splits into 3 or 4 jagged shards, carving multiple wound channels that fan outward like a mini claymore going off inside the target. In gel, it looks unreal. Instead of one wound path, you get several radiating out, maximizing internal trauma without dangerous overpenetration. That's a big win in close-quarter self-defense, where you don't want rounds sailing through walls and into your neighbor's fish tank. Even better, it runs reliably in semi-autos. I've seen it feed smoothly in Ruger SR-22s and Smith & Wesson Victory pistols with zero hiccups. For a design that looks aggressive, it plays surprisingly nice with most platforms. A lot of folks still don't know this load exists, but the gel test videos online are waking people up. It's disruptive, effective, and unlike anything else in the 22 LR lineup. CCI Velocitor. The CCI Velocitor is a 40-grain copper-plated hollow point that doesn't break records in velocity or weight, but that's exactly its strength. At about 1,435 feet per second, it balances speed and mass in a way that makes it one of the most reliable all-around 22 loads ever made. Expansion, consistent and symmetrical. Penetration, usually right in the 12 to 14-inch sweet spot in ballistic gel. That's good enough for hunting varmints, and in a defensive pinch, it delivers the depth needed without over-penetrating. Accuracy is where it shines. Out of rifles like the Ruger 1022, groups stay tight, predictable, and repeatable. From compact pistols, it still cycles with authority, which is no small feat for expanding .22 ammo. I've seen Velocitor turn a nuisance raccoon into a quick one-shot dropper at backyard distances. No twitching, no dragging, just lights out. It's not showy, but it's the steady hand you trust when you don't want any surprises. If the Stinger is the flashy sprinter, the Velocitor is the marathon runner, measured, dependable, and always crossing the finish line. Norma Hunter 22 Power. Norma isn't a flashy brand in the US rimfire world, but anyone who knows European ammo recognizes their reputation for precision. The Hunter 22 Power is a 40-grain hollow point running around 1,260 feet per second. On paper, it doesn't scream deadly, but on impact, it tells a different story. This round expands reliably without turning small game into red mist. That's a huge deal if you're putting food on the table. It punches clean wound channels that dispatch varmints effectively while still leaving usable meat intact. What really makes it shine is consistency. Every box feels identical. Point of impact doesn't shift, recoil is the same shot to shot, and function is smooth whether you're running a bolt gun or a suppressed semi-auto. I've run it side by side with premium American brands, and Norma often feels like it's playing in a higher league of quality control. At about 10 to 11 cents per round, it's not only effective but affordable. I like to call it the quiet killer because it doesn't brag, but the results speak volumes. For shooters who think only American-made 22 matters, the Hunter 22 Power is proof that Sweden knows how to load rimfire that gets the job done. Winchester Super-X. There's something to be said for ammo that's been on shelves for generations. Winchester Super-X 40-grain copper-plated hollow point has been around long enough to watch most of its competitors come and go. With a muzzle velocity around 1,280 feet per second, it doesn't push extremes, but it delivers balance. The Super-X expands consistently, penetrates deep enough to matter, and flies straight. Hunters have relied on it for decades, dropping raccoons, possums, and foxes without drama. When I ran it in both lever guns and semi-autos, it fed without issue and landed exactly where I expected, every time. It's not sexy, it won't light up gel blocks on YouTube with fireworks, but it's the seasoned cowboy of the 22 family, gritty, proven, and uninterested in showing off. The kind of round that just works, whether you're teaching a kid to shoot or defending a chicken coop at midnight. And here's the thing, reliability in rimfire is rare. Some modern boutique loads choke, misfire, or lose accuracy when the weather turns. The Super-X shrugs off those variables. That's why it's still here when others vanished. It's not Hollywood, it's heritage. Aguila Super Extra HP. Let's be real, ammo budgets matter. You can't shoot thousands of rounds if every box drains your wallet. That's where Aguila's Super Extra hollow point earns its place, usually pushing 38 to 40 grains at around 1,250 feet per second. It's not the fanciest performer, but expansion is reliable, accuracy is surprisingly solid, and most importantly, it cycles better than many expect. I've run bricks of this stuff through old Marlin liver guns and suppressed Ruger pistols, and it just kept going. Is it match grade? Number. But at its price point, it outperforms expectations. In gel, expansion shows up more often than not, especially from rifle-length barrels. Out of pistols, it still manages decent penetration and dependable function. I've actually had fewer dud rounds with Aguila than with certain high-dollar American brands. That shocked me. It proves that cheap doesn't always mean dirty or unreliable. In fact, Aguila has quietly become one of the largest rimfire producers worldwide, and their quality reflects it. If you're stocking up for plinking, pest control, or just having backup ammo in the safe, Super Extra is the budget bruiser that won't let you down. It might not win beauty contests, but it shows up ready to work. Remington Golden Bullet. Few rimfire rounds have been shot through more barrels than the Remington Golden Bullet. It's been around forever, and while it's not perfect, it's one of those loads that proves its worth with sheer availability and performance-to-cost ratio. Usually a 36 or 40 grain plated hollow point, it pushes around 1,280 feet per second, striking a balance between velocity and bullet weight that works for everything from plinking to pest control. Accuracy is respectable, especially out of rifles, and expansion in gel is consistent enough to drop small game cleanly. Hunters often note how effective it is on rabbits and squirrels without blowing apart too much meat. And while bulk packs sometimes get criticized for the occasional dud, many shooters swear by keeping a few boxes stacked in their safes. It's not fancy, but it's dependable enough to remind everyone why it has remained a staple for decades. The Golden Bullet is the kind of ammo that keeps showing up to work even when it doesn't get the spotlight. Blazer 22 LR. Blazer may not carry the prestige of Federal or the heritage of Winchester, but it has carved out a niche as one of the most affordable yet reliable 22 loads on the market. Typically loaded with a 40-grain lead-round nose, it pushes around 1,235 feet per second, making it versatile enough for training, plinking, and small game hunting. The surprise with Blazer is how consistently it runs in semi-autos. Many cheap bulk 22 have a reputation for misfeeds or weak charges, but Blazer tends to punch above its price. In gel, penetration is modest but adequate, and while there's no expansion, the round nose design carries momentum through targets predictably. For shooters who burn through bricks of ammo every month, Blazer hits that sweet spot of cheap, available, and functional. It's not fancy, but it's the ammo you can count on for range days without draining your wallet. So here's the real question. When it comes to 22 LR, which load has earned your trust time and time again? Maybe it's the one you keep stacked deep in your safe, or the one that's never failed you out in the field. I want to hear those stories, the hits, the hunts, and the moments where rimfire proved it still punches way above its weight. Drop your experiences in the comments, smash that like button, and make sure you're subscribed to Firearm Standard, because the next deep dive is already locked and loaded.